API key as just a key, right? To access the LLM, just like you need to create an account for ChatGPT, right? Before you can access the actual page, or just like if you want to create a Google mail, right? So the key is a unique identifier for you to access their the LLM directly. Now, how do you configure the LLM or get the API key? So I said earlier that you should go to, let me open it. I think I have it here. So if you go to the Google Cloud Console that I talked about previously, you know what? Let me enter it again so that everyone can be on the same page as I am. Google Cloud Console. In fact, if you just type it on Google, it will give you all the links, and then you can just click on Google Cloud Console here. Okay? So when you open it, it will automatically, if your Gmail is already open on your browser, it automatically use your Gmail account because it's owned by Google anyways, so which is easy. So I'm using a different account from the API key I'm using for the training. So that I'm just in the same position as you in terms of having access. So now I'm using my university account for this. Now you can come up to the top here to the navigation menu here. You click on navigation menu, then you can go to API and services. Okay. Once you get there, you can click on enable APIs and services. Or you can also click on credentials. I think it's the same thing. If I click on that, okay, then you see a plus sign here, enable APIs and services, okay? So we are creating a new one first since we don't have any. So let's click on that. Wait, settings. Oh, wait, sorry. Let's go back. I'm sorry. I think we should go to credentials, not APIs. So we go to API and services, and then let's go to credentials. Yeah. Thought that would take me down. Okay. You see, I don't have any API key on this account, so I'm simply just the same level as you, right? Now you can click on create credentials, and then you say we want an API key. Are you there? So once you click on it, it's be creating an API key for us. So this Google has a free API key that anyone can use. So immediately it will give you this is your API key. So now I have my API key written here. So what you need to do is copy this API key. You copy it. Now, this is your personal key. Don't give it to anyone. Because then it means they are using your account to access Google. So if they do anything wrong, Google can arrest you. So be careful, please. And then you can close it. So you see, it's created a key for me. I can show the key, so you can come back here to copy it again in case. So you can give it a name even if you want. I think there's options to rename the key, edit the API key, you can rename it and so on. Okay. So now we have an API key. So you need to then go back to Jupyter Notebook, the notebook we had before. Now, Colab has a way of helping you save your key on the back end so that you don't have to put it in your Jupyter Notebook, right? So all you need to do is there's a key column, a security column here on the side of Colab is called secrets. So that's where you keep any key of any API you have, right? So you can click on it. I think I already have my setup for this, but then you can click on add new secrets. Click on add new secrets. So when you click on add new secrets, it will give you, okay, let me do that. So these two options will appear. Under the name, type API key in capital bold letters like this. And then what you copied other time, put it in the second under value. So that will be your API key. So I've created one before, which I'll be using. So I don't want to create a new one. And this, you see that it's just in dot, like a password. So it's secret. So I'm going to delete this one. So once you do that, you're good to go. So it means you have an API key, your Gemini LLM you can access it. And what it will do is each time you call the Gemini, it automatically goes to your API key on the back end, access it, and use that to link you up with Gemini LLM. Is that okay? So let me put a stop here. Any question? Is anyone having problems with configuring the API key and so on? Please speak up. I have like 5 minutes on this before we move on to the training. Any question? Okay, doesn't look like there's any question on the chat, so everyone is very smart. So we're good to go.
Let me unmute them so that it's faster for them to ask.
Oh, okay, please.
So now you can unmute yourself.
Please, you can unmute yourself.
And speak into the microphone.
And then if you have any question, please feel free to ask now.
Okay, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
This is Nafi Ogulumbe. I was in the chat. I wanted to write that you should just go slowly because we are not that much expert in the field.
No
so
problem.
We are learning gradually.
So tell me where you are.
Yeah, I was lost at where I'm to generate the key.
Okay. So
after choosing the credentials, I entered them. I saw that I should choose a project. I now select a new project. That's where
okay, that's fine. So let's do it again. I'll go through it again, and then you can catch up. That's fine. Yeah. So let me go back to the Google. So here, let me delete the old one I created. Delete the API key.
So I'll just mute everyone again, and then you can unmute yourself, Tayo.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's go. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's go back again. I go to Google. What's wrong? Okay. So let's search Google Cloud Console. Okay. So I'm just searching for it so I can find the link. But if you click on the email as well, it will take you to the same thing. And then I click on this. So you should be on the same page as what I have now. Okay. Maybe can you unmute them so that I could make sure that they're following. And then maybe after this, we can, yeah. Okay. So is everyone here?
Give me a minute. Yeah.
Okay, is everyone
Yes.
here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So you click on this. I think the fastest way to go about it is click on the navigation menu. So to bring out all these options, billing and so on. Then go to API and services. API and services. Then you go to credentials. API and services, then credentials. Okay, is everybody there?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So you click on credentials. So you should be on this page that looks like this, that says no API key to display because we don't have any API key, right? Because I deleted the last one. Then you can click at the top here, create credentials. Up here, you should see create credentials.
What we are seeing is create project.
Yes, don't just follow my step now because that step sometimes is a much longer process and it might confuse people. So this is faster. Somebody asked, can we create multiple keys? Please, no. For now, let's just use one. You can create multiple keys, definitely, but for now, let's stick with one, okay? So when you click on create credentials, then you click on API key. Then click on API key. All right. Now, then it starts to create your API key. It's created one for me. That's it. Fast, much faster. Anyone? Is everyone able to get it now?
Yes, sir.
So all you need to then do is click on this button, which will help you copy the API key. So you copy it. So when you click on it, it copies it automatically, or you can just highlight it and press Ctrl C on your laptop. Now, if you're using your phone, you don't need this process. Please note, if you're using your phone, you don't need this process. So you highlight it. Once you copy it, then you go back to the Jupyter notebook. Okay. And then you click on secrets. So you see this key here, you click on it, it's called secrets. So when you click on it, it opens a much wider tab. And then you click on add new secrets. So when you click on add new secrets, it will show an empty name and an empty value. So type under name, type API key, just like I did here. And under value, enter the API key you copied. Just Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. And that's it.
Hello,
Okay.
can you hear me? Yes,
Yeah, I can hear
so
you.
for this secrets, after putting in the API underscore key and the value, the notebook access, are we to toggle it on or it comes automatically by itself?
You will have to copy it. So that's what I wanted to
No,
talk
the
about next.
notebook access. I think there's a toggle button for the notebook access.
So I hope everyone is done with this secret aspect because that's key. Now, the next is, now the notebook you are opening is actually, you only have a view permission on it. And the reason is because I don't want people to start typing things on my own notebook and it's confusing, right? So you need to create a copy of your own. And how do you do that? Very simple. You come to File here, up here.
Okay.
You click on File. Then you see the option to copy or save a copy in Drive. So it will automatically create a copy of this notebook and it will be within your Google Drive, which you can access anytime now.
Okay. So I don't have to necessarily toggle it on now, right?
No, so just copy. You can also download it if you want, but
Okay.
once you download it, then it means it will be on your personal PC, and you are outside Colab automatically, and you might not be able to use some of the features within Colab. So you can download. Maybe you want to run it on a different platform or on a Jupyter notebook later somewhere else. It's fine. So you can download it and have it as a copy. But if you want to still use Colab, is you save a copy in Drive. So to save a copy within your Google Drive.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a question. So let's say that you've created an API key before for a separate project that has nothing to do with this AI generative training. Do you need to create another API key, or you can just use that one?
You can just use that one. As long as it's still active, you can still use it. In fact, if you have one that is paid already, even if it's a different model, it's fine. You can use it as well. It's fine. Yeah, someone is asking, where do you download the notebook? There's a download at the end of file. You click on file at the top here. Then you come down, you see download at the bottom. And you can download it either as a Jupyter notebook or as just a Python file. You can do that as well. Okay. So once you this is to copy, please is important. Now let's move on now to the training proper. If there's any other question, someone say I'm lost from that value. The value is simply the API key you copied from Google Cloud Console. And you're expected to paste that API key under value. So if I click on secrets, then under name, you write API key in capital like this. And then under value, you paste the API key that you copied. So if I show you my own now, you see it's like a bunch of letters. So that's my API key. But I'm not supposed to show you, even though I know you can copy everything, so I'm good. But I'm supposed to hide it. Is that okay? I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Please, speak on.
Yeah, please, this API key. Are we allowed now? Are we advised to edit it and put some numerical alphabet that we can
No. Don't add anything to it.
Okay, we can only copy it separately.
Just copy it and paste it in that same position. Don't add anything to it. If you add anything to it, it won't work. So because that is your key. It's like somebody giving you key or you getting an apartment, and then the landlord give you key to your apartment. And you say, oh no, you know what? I want to change the tip of the key. I want to add some extra thing to it. It won't open the door, right?
Yeah.
So this is your key to enter Google API, Google LLM, right? So you can't add anything to it. Okay, someone asked, I don't want to spend my time answering questions, so maybe I will just, for the next 2 minutes, I will move on. Notebook you're presenting, how do you get it? Oh, I already said that many times. So if you go to your email that was sent to you, if you see that they ask that you click on the Google Colab folder in the email. Okay. And then when you click on it, it will give you access straight to my Google Drive, which you will see 3 different Jupyter notebook open. Now you have to click on the middle one called prompt engineering. That's the one we are doing today. So when you click on it, it will take you straight to prompt engineering, this Jupyter notebook I'm showing.
Okay, let me just take a minute to answer some of the questions that I have here.
Okay.
So can we create multiple keys? It's not advisable for you to create multiple keys. Can you like spare key in case the one created is compromised? If the one you created is compromised,
You can create a new one.
you create a new one, but then the project where you used that key, you will need to update it. It's just like changing the lock of your house.
Of your
If
house.
you change the lock of your house, you need to give everybody that has the key the updated key. So yes, you can create more than one key, but not at the same time. You create just one key, and if you feel at any point in time that it is compromised, you delete that key, you create another key, and then you update all the projects that you have used that key. You update it to the new key. So that's about that. The second question that I'm seeing that is coming up frequently is, where do you get the notebook? Again, if you're in this class, it means that you have received the email that we sent out. I can resend it to us again today so that we can keep it. In that email, it contains a link to the Google Colab folder. And if you follow that link, you will find 3 files in that folder. In that folder, you only have view access. You do not have write access. So it means that when you click on it, you cannot change anything in it. And that is because we want to preserve the integrity of that script. But what do you do to use it for your project? What you need to do is to duplicate it. You copy it and you save it into your own personal folder. And then now you can now edit it and reuse it. If you follow that link and it does not open anything to you, it only means that maybe you have a connection problem, an internet problem, or anything. So you refresh, you clear cache if it is necessary, and then you try again. But that link works. I've tried it, and you just need to click and follow all the instruction as detailed, and then you would get to this point. Thank you.
Thank you. So someone said here that I didn't get the email. If you didn't get the email, check your spam. If you didn't still get the email, it means that you probably did not register. So that's what it means. Okay, let's move on. I think because of time, I hope we can still all see my screen. So we'll just go through the notebook and then I'll explain some concepts. So the first thing we're going to do is we need this library here to use to access Google generative AI infrastructure overall. So we need to install it. So that's why you have this code here. So the first thing you do is you click on this on the side. It means to run the cell, right? So we run it. So when you click it, it runs, and then you start downloading some bunch of information. Oh, before I go there, it might not, in case it doesn't work, for example, make sure that you have this on the left-hand side, that it is connected. So let me pause that. Let's see. From here on the left-hand side, let me see if I can disconnect and reconnect again. Disconnect and delete one time. I don't want to do that. So if you click on this side, if yours is not connected, if you click on connect to a host runtime, it will automatically then to connect you. Please, this is important. Okay, and then after that you can run. So once you run, you see that there's no error. Then after that, you move on to the next cell, and then you click on run again. So to load all the libraries that we need. So we need Colab, we need Google Gemini, generative AI as well. Now, the next one is to upload our API key. Now, what we did when we created the secret is to put the API key on the back end. You know, it's like me having my house key, but I don't want people around me, and then I need to go out and keep my key for my friend to come into my house, right? What will I need to do with the key? I will not just put it in front of my door and hang it there and say, everybody, this is the key to my house, and just hang it there and leave, right? What will you do? You will call your friend, you will hide it somewhere and tell your friend where it is hidden, right? That's what you will do. It's the same thing we're doing here. So we've hidden the key on the back end so that if anyone have access to our Jupyter notebook, but they will not have access to the key. So here I'm just using this to call the key from the back end and bring it for me internally, right, to the front. So I'm uploading the key now here. So, and it's saving it in the Gemini in the configuration file. So it's kept. So that anytime I need to use it, the key goes along with my request. So I run the next one. system. Okay. So please, you need to do these three. It's important, else everything we'll be doing at the bottom will not work. So make sure you run this 3 cell. It's important. And make sure it gives you like a check mark on the side that, yes, it's ran. So welcome to prompt engineering now. So all the things we're talking about has just been mostly set up. Oh, someone said I should come again. So all I said is make sure you run these 3 cells. The first one, the one that has 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you run these 3 cells and make sure it gives you this green check mark on the side. All right, so let's move on. Now, what is prompt engineering? But before we talk about prompt engineering, we need to understand what is even a large language model. What is it? People say, what are we even talking about today, basically, right? And are we running the duplicate we made or your copy? Please, the copy. So I already talked about how to do the copy. So to do the copy, you go to File, quickly, and then you say Save a copy in Drive. File, and then save a copy in Drive. So that will save a copy of it automatically for you in your Drive. Okay? And then you can run it. That means whatever you do here will be saved automatically in your Drive. All right, let's move on. And make sure you run these 3 cell. So now let's move on to LLM. So basically, what is large language model, right? So large language model is simply a computer model in simple terms that it's an aspect of what we call deep learning that has been trained with every information on the internet. So what they did was to write some bunch of code that has some mathematical whatever, which I won't go into details of that. But imagine that it's just like your brain. So that's why I have a picture of a brain here. And then what they did was to take all the information on the internet, English, Yoruba, Hausa, every information, every text on the internet, even images on the internet, everything was passed through this model to try to understand it. Okay? Someone say I have an error in the third code, please. The reason why you have an error is most likely because you didn't set up your API key. But I'll come back to that later. If it doesn't work for you for now, please just create the OpenAI, go to ChatGPT, and let's use ChatGPT for now to go through the training, and then later we can figure that one out so we don't waste more time. Is that okay? So go to ChatGPT, create an account. Like I said, chatgpt.com. I put the link on the chat earlier. I can put it again. Let me send it again. So when you go there, just sign in for free, and then it will give you a page like what you see on my screen right now. So everything we are going to be doing, you can use this. So this is the front end of it. We're just using back end. So if you can figure it out, if it's having given you error, please just, you can use this for now, okay? So let's continue. So imagine they then take all the information on the internet and then pass all this information to the LLM, to the model that has been created, all languages. So it has, to help you understand it, there is what we call embeddings that takes all of these numbers, all these letters, text, words, right? They convert them to number representation of those words because computer does not understand language, right? So you only understand binary numbers. So they take all of this text, convert everything to number representation of those information, and then they give it to this model. So this model could have about 6, 10 billion, 100 billion parameter in order to be able to understand fully this entire information on the internet. And that's why when you ask it any information, it has the ability to generate text. That's why we call it generative AI. So it has the ability to generate text back to you based on the question you ask. Now it has so much huge scale. Now imagine all the entire information on the internet. People say we have about 10 to 100 petabytes of data. That's a huge amount of data. And imagine having to train a model with all of this data. So the scale is huge. Most companies that own these models have invested millions of dollars just to get these models up running. And that's now they're trying to make money out of it. Now, it has contextual understanding. So meaning that if I tell it something that, my name is Tayo, it has the ability to understand my information, my text, right? It also has the ability to generalize across different tasks, different profession, different information, because it's been trained with every information on the internet. So it's like your Google in a way, but in a different way, because of course it was trained every information Google will give you as well. So here it has all the information on the internet and it has the ability to generate. It's like a very smart guy that has been given every information on the internet, and he knows like almost everything on the internet, at least till the day it was trained, right? So any information after the day it was trained, it does not know that information. So if we're using a model, for example, that was trained up till when was the last election in Nigeria? 2023, right? Okay, if it was trained up to, let's say, 2022, for example, and you ask it, who is the president of Nigeria? It will tell you it is, what's his name?
Muhammadu Buhari.
Muhammadu Buhari. That's what it's going to tell you, because that is the information it knew last, right? So, but every information to the day it was trained, it knows every information about it. Also, you can do what we call zero-shot or few-shot learning. That means giving some examples. So, for example, if you want it to help you do something, maybe you can start by giving it no example. If I can tell it, I want to go to the store. I have just 50 naira with me. I know 50 naira cannot buy anything in Nigeria, but for example, I have 50 naira with me and I want to have a full meal. Please, can you suggest what I can buy, right? It has enough information to say, I think I know. It will go check and say, okay, I think I know the current price of this thing. And it has the ability to say, okay, no, I will suggest you buy this amount of okra, this amount of gari, this if you want to eat, and to help you create a meal based on your budget, right? Because it has this information. And like I said, it also has the ability to generate text. Now, not just only text, it also has the ability to generate images. So that's what makes this what we call multimodal models. That is, it can also generate images. I can tell it, this is a picture of my house, right? I want to think of I want to redesign it. Please, can you suggest how to actually design it? You give it a picture of your house and it will give you a nice design of idea that you can redesign your house to as well, because it's also been trained with several images of different houses. It can also even make videos, right? I'm sure many of you have heard about news that in the US, somebody made a fake video of the minister, the Secretary of State, which is like the minister of the foreign minister in Nigeria. So the equivalent in US. Someone make a fake video of him and sent it to an employee in the Department of State, pretending to be the Secretary of State. That's huge, right? So so that's why not every video you see on the internet is real. So please know that some can be created with a large language model like this. Okay. So let's move on. Just to give you now, the history, I will just jump that because of time. The history actually started far back from 1967. People have been working on this. At some point, it was called LSTM model. And then in 2011, there was a huge breakthrough by some Google researchers called transformers. And that was the bedrock of what we see of generative AI we see today. So let's move on to prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is simply the process of crafting how to connect or how to inform a large language model or how to talk to a large language model. So for the purpose of this class, see an LLM that I just talked about. I told you it's very smart. It's been trained with every information on the internet. So I can assume that it's a person because, yeah, you also know a lot of information, right? So see it as a person. Now, the question now is, how do I talk to this person? That is prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is how to communicate with this person called a large language model, called an LLM, or if you go to specific names that have been given to it, called a Gemini or called ChatGPT. How do I talk to it, right? How do I communicate with it? Remember, it's a computer, not an actual human being, but it's as smart as a human being. So how do I talk to it? And that's what we'll be talking about today. So when a model does not produce the kind of response you want, it means that your prompt or how you communicated what you want to it is not clear enough. For example, if I tell a model, what is the color of the sky of my house, or how many beds do I have in front of my house? Of course, it will not know that information, right? But if I give it some information previously, and I now ask it, how many beds do I have in front of my house? Then it will be able to figure it out and say, oh yeah, I think I have some information before. This is it, right? And so the way you prompt an LLM is really important and determines what the response it's going to give you. Now, why is prompt engineering important? It's important because it helps to mitigate errors. Like, it can also generate irrelevant content. It can give you wrong responses if you don't give it the right prompts, right? And I think we will test some of this later. So if you don't give the right prompt, like for example, if I say, who is the president of Nigeria? Now, that question is not clear enough, right? It's just going to find one president in the past and just say that's the president of Nigeria. But if I say, who is the president of Nigeria in 2024 or 2025, right? Then I'm becoming more specific on what I want, and then it's going to find that specific answer for me, okay? So also, prompt engineering is important because it ensures that the AI can handle creative writing, right? It can handle image generation. Even you can write a full Python code on it. You can write Python code. So now the skill in the area of AI is shifting gradually from people who can just write code, who can write Python, who can write, all of these programming languages, to someone who is smart at using an LLM to actually write those code for you. And on the third week, we're going to try something. We're going to create a front end for an app using an LLM to create the front end. Now, I know nothing about software engineering, nothing, but I have developed a whole website using an LLM to create it. You see how powerful that is. And even of recent, Microsoft or some of these companies, they are firing their software engineers and replacing them with AI engineers. Why? Because if you're an AI engineer, you practically can do anything with an LLM in your hand, right? So let's move on. Now, what is a prompt? So a prompt is simply the input you give to an LLM. So it's the instruction that you give to it, right? It could be a question, it could be a complex instruction that with context, with tone, with style, how you want it to give you what you want. It's all of this, it's your prompt, right? Now we're going to test something with generative AI I already gave before. We're going to ask it that you should explain to us what prompt engineering is, like a 5-year-old, right? So if I was to do that, I probably don't know how I can explain to a 5-year-old what prompt engineering is. But it can do that because it's able to connect, okay, what does a 5-year-old look like? And what is prompt engineering? It's able to break it down to help a 5-year-old. And we're going to see the response right now. So if you're using the ChatGPT, okay, all you need to do is, let me copy this. Jola, do you have access to this notebook? Are you able to copy it for me and put it in the chat?
Okay.
Okay, please. Thank you. So we're going to ask this model to say, it should explain to us what a prompt engineering is, like a 5-year-old. Now, when I did that, look at the response it gave me. It says, oh, it answered by saying, 1 minute. Okay, I'm running it again. So if you are using the ChatGPT, just copy this and put it in your ChatGPT and see what it gives you. The answer might be different from what you're seeing here, but it should be similar. Okay. Now, you see, it says, imagine you want a magic gene for a toy. You could say, Gene, give me a toy, or Genie, give me a toy. But the genie might give you a boring old stick. So prompt engineering is like telling the genie exactly what you want, so you get the best toy ever. Right? Look at how he said it. It's like, imagine that you have some magic thing, right? And then you want it to give you a toy. So how do you tell it the type of toy you want? That is prompt engineering to a 5-year-old, right? And I could tell it, explain prompt engineering to me like, can you guess? What should we use? Like what? Like I am, I'm thinking. So explain what components, like I am an engineer. So let's try that. And let's see what's going to give us.
Okay, or you could say that, oh, I'm a nurse. Explain to me what prompt engineering is in a way that is applicable to me.
To me, yeah. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good one. All right,
Explain prompt engineering in a way that is
please,
applicable
you
to
can try your own, you can practice it, you can change it the way you want and see what it gives you, right? So please feel free to play with it, see what it gives you as a response. Why is this taking so much time? Okay. Oh, it's giving me a long. I think engineering is more complex. It said, it's stop. You see, now look at what it gave me. It's giving me a whole full article on engineering. Now it's talking about why prompt engineering is important, why prompt engineering is important for an engineer. I think because it saw the word prompt engineering and engineer, so it just connected that maybe it needs more information. So you see, that could be confusing. So let's change it to something like I am a nurse. So like you said, so let's try that.
Or explain what prompt engineering is and how it is relevant to me or to my profession as a nurse.
As a nurse,
or
yeah.
something like that.
My system is a bit slow. I think it's because a lot is going on my computer. Yeah. Okay, explain. Explain. Okay, let's do this way. Explain what prompt engineering.
I sent something to you on chat.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, let me copy what you wrote. But this will be a long episode you wrote here. I'm trying to prevent having a long episode.
Okay.
But because it's going to give me so much long information. But let's just say explain what prompt engineering is to a nurse. in 2 sentences. So just to reduce what information it provides. Sorry, my system is a little. So that we have a very short sentence. Okay, so it's running. Let's see. So let me pause here. Are there any question? So please, you can meet people in the next 5 minutes while this run. Okay, it says let's connect prompt engineering to your word. All right. Okay, so for us, it says prompt engineering is like giving detailed instruction to a computer program, like a chatbot, to get it to provide the most accurate, let me see, the most accurate and helpful information. This is about crafting the right question and command to guide the program and to get the specific response you need. Okay, that's correct. So you can give it anything. Please, if you're on the chat, you can post what question you asked and what response it gave you. You can post on the chat. And if you have any question, please, you can unmute yourself to ask before I move on. Okay. I think I'll just move on. Now you can also even ask it something that is more in a mathematics form, right? Someone's not getting a response. Sorry, are you using the chat GPT or you're using the notebook? And that's important to know.
Hello.
If you already have chat GPT, please, you can use it. You can use the chat GPT you have as well. So today we're just learning how to write better prompts, basically. Okay, so let me move on because we still have a lot.
Before you move on, I just want to like a comic break. So I queried ChatGPT that my 90-year-old grandfather, who speaks only Yoruba, just asked me what prompt engineering is and what do I say to him, and he gave me a prose in Yoruba language.
Can you put it on the chat?
Maths and everything. Sure, I can. Oh Lord.
Okay, so let's move on. So applying prompt engineering to improve prompts. Now look at this example. For example, I want it to give me to multiply 923 by 99. But if I tell it to just do this, remember, it's not equipped to do mathematics. Please be aware of that. It is not equipped to do mathematics, only to generate text, right? But there's a way I can tweak my prompt that will help it to give me the answer that I want, or to give me the right answer. Now, if you just type go, maybe some of them are becoming very smart now, though. So maybe they might just work on the go. But when we still had ChatGPT, GPT-3, or for example, if you say 923 times 99, it will just guess one random number and give it to you, which is very wrong, right? Now to help it, if you say something like, let's go step by step, always write out the full numbers of zeros for each term. That is, do the calculation. Show me how you did the calculation like you will do like a primary 2-year-old or primary three child will do, right? Will calculate it. You see how he wrote for me. He says, here's how to calculate 323 times 99. The method, he gave me two different methods. The first one, he used the distributive property, so it's going to mathematics, which I think I would jump. But the second one, I'm sure all of us can relate with the second method, right? This is how you did it in primary 3 or primary 4, or if you are very smart, maybe in primary 2. All right. You see how it broke it down and gave me the right answer. Nafiu, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just wanted to add to what I got from my prompt when I reframe it. Like when I say it should make it related to my field of chemistry, applied chemistry, it says in research and development support, I can be used. They said instead of me asking, tell me about corrosion inhibition, rather I should say, it is telling me what I should say in the proper prompt engineering. It said I should summarize the latest trends in corrosion inhibition, in inhibitors used in marine environment, that is in maritime, focusing on green chemistry approaches. That gives you targeted and high quality insight. That's what it was telling me as the feedback.
Yeah, so it also has the ability to even help you sometimes on how well to prompt it. So it's telling you this is how you should talk to me. Don't talk to me like this. So it also has the ability to do that. Thank you for sharing. So let's move on. So we have now let's move on to the basic structure of a prompt. I want to make sure we cover most of the topic before, and then, you know what, let me spend some time covering the entire conversation, right? And then at the end, we'll just have time for questions and to whatever you received. But please, Jola, if you don't mind, for every aspect, if you the prompt, you can put it on the chat so people can try it on their own as well for those using ChatGPT. So now let's look at a basic prompt, or what makes a good prompt. Let's put it that way. And what are the different key parts of your prompt? So like I said, prompt is the instruction that you're given to an LLM, right? And there are different parts to it. The first part is what we call the directive. So the directive is the main instruction in your prompt. So do you want it to give you an image? Do you want it to give you a text? And what specific text is it giving you, right? Your main directive will like exactly what you want. Just like when we asked that you should explain prompt engineering. That is a directive we are giving it. So that's one aspect of prompt of a prompt structure. So I will move on. The next one is the examples. So for example, you see here, I asked it a simple instruction saying you should tell me 5 good books to read. So I just told it, tell me 5 good books to read. That is a directive. There is no additional, nothing is added. I just said, this is what I want you to do it. And it did. It gave me 5 books that I should read. Now, it just gave me some random books that probably are very popular on the internet, or the few most popular books on the internet. Now, if I wanted to give me specific area, maybe I wanted to give me a book on science, right? Then you can be more specific on what you want in this directive aspect, and it will help it to guide it to the right book or area that you want. Okay. Now, implicit directives are very, very important. What I mean by implicit directives, sometimes LLM can infer directives from just a bunch of text that you give to it, right? It can say, for example, I just give it Nigeria, country, New York, what? Right. There is no specific directive or instruction in what I wrote, but it's able to figure out the directive from it. And look at the response. It says Nigeria is a country, New York is a city. So it's able to figure it out that I can infer the directive from this information that I get. And that's why what I'm doing here is like giving an example, right? So I given in the first example, it's able to say, oh, okay, Nigeria country. Oh, okay. So I'm trying to connect what the left-hand side is to the right-hand side. So when I ask it, what is New York? Okay, it has to be a city, okay? Now, also, you can have directives you can give it some name, right? In like name person, which is here, for example, most times, especially when you want to give your LLM or your interaction with it some persona, we call it persona, like you want to give it a name, a person, right? So for example, you can have in a prompt saying a user has input their first and last name into a form, right? We don't know in which order their first name and last name are, but we need it to be in this format. So I'm trying to give it that I want this format based on the user giving you their first name and last name. Then I tell you the format I want, and then I say, please convert the following name in the expected format, John Smith. And you see, when I put into the LLM, it gave me exactly the format that I wanted by using this format. You see, the format is, it finds what's the last name. The last name must be Smith. It puts it here, and there's a comma in between them, right? And then you have the first name. And it's able to rearrange it for me. Now, where is this useful? So just imagine you have some text that you got from the internet, but you want to force it into a structure, right? You want to make it concise. You want to redefine in a certain way. You can use an LLM to help you do that. And you just need to put in a prompt that this is what you want, give you the example of how you want it, and it's going to do the same. Now, how can you have a good directive or best practices when you are writing instruction to an LLM? You have to be very clear and concise, right? You cannot be ambiguous. If you are ambiguous or vague in your instruction, it will just give you whatever it wants. So whatever instruction you want, think about it that, oh, if I have to talk to someone about this, what will I tell them? How will I phrase it, right? And then try to think it out and then put it in the prompt and tell the LLM. Sometimes some of the newest version of LLM are becoming even more smarter, that even if you just, and don't worry about spelling mistakes because it figures that one out by itself automatically, but try to be as clear as possible in exactly what you want, right? And then sometimes when possible, you try to use action verbs, right, for specific tasks. Like if you wanted to write, if you wanted to translate something. So I can tell you to translate from English to Yoruba and to do a perfect job, like you saw in what the other show shared the other time. You can tell it to list something for you. Make sure you use action verb. The action you want it to do, make sure you specify it in your instruction. Try not to be vague, okay? Now, let's move on to essay evaluation and feedback. Now, I can also use an LLM giving it instruction. So I'm just giving you different examples of directives. I can ask it to correct grammar, my English. I can ask it to phrase my English. I can ask it for some arguments on whether this sentence is good or not. In fact, I can even tell it to score my text. Now, this is very useful for those of, if you're a student or you're a researcher and you're writing papers all the time, you know, you can use this tool for your own, for your work. So now, even for me, what I do is I don't care when I'm writing a paper. I don't care about my English, whether it's correct or whatever. I just write as it's coming to my head because it's much easier. It flows. If I have to start to focus on whether it is correct, it will take me more time and then I lose the flow, right? So just write it as it's coming to your head. Then after you're done, you can copy it and tell an LLM to correct it and rephrase it for you in a better way. So please, if you have a problem with the notebook, just use chatgpt.com directly. So for example, here I am asking it, I say you should read the following except from an essay, and it should provide feedback based on the following criteria. So if you're a teacher, you can actually use this to grade. If you're an English teacher, you can use it to grade your students' homework if you don't want to. You don't want to stress yourself. So if you're teaching 100 students, instead of having to read all their essays one by one, just give a ChatGPT and tell it what condition it should follow, right? So I can say, this essay provide feedback, based on clarity, on coherence, on argument quality, and the use of evidence, right? And then you should give a score based on the text. Now, and then at the end, I provided the text. I said, this is the text that I'm asking to grade for me. I said, despite the popular belief, there is no solid evidence supporting the idea that video games lead to violent behavior. So this is like somebody writing an article, right? Research on the topic is often contradictory and inconclusive. So those are the texts I'm giving to the LLM. Evaluate this information for me. Now look at what he did. He was able to evaluate it. He says, here's a breakdown of what you gave me. In terms of grammar, I'm giving a score of 8/10. And now make sure, now when you're using LLM to evaluate anything, please, this is important. Either to evaluate or to grade something, is there a word limit for essays? Yes. So LLM has what we call a context window. Context window simply means how much text it can take in. Okay, it's in terms of what we call token. Now, just to help you as a rule of thumb, if you have a text that is, let's say, 1,000 words, now it means that your LLM can take about, then you need a minimum of half of that is the number of maximum tokens it can take. So what I mean is, if you go to an LLM, most of ChatGPT, I think, many of them have almost about 500,000, I would say a million limits in terms of words. So just, yeah, so they are pretty big. They can take quite a lot, right? So I think it's important to let you know that. But when you go check the model itself they are using, they always write, if you just type ChatGPT on the name of the model. So for example, if I type Gemini and I tell you to, just go on Google, this information are public. You can say, what is the context window? I need to tell you the context window. And then whatever value number it gives you, you multiply by 2 is the number of words that it can take. But don't worry about that. If you give it something too much, it will tell you this text is beyond, or it will only look at the first few words that is able to enter the context window. So that is, for example, if your LLM can only take, let's say, 1,000 words, okay? And you give it 2,000. It means that the first 1,000 words is the only thing it's going to see. The remaining 1,000 after that is not seeing it. So that's important. So there's a limit. Okay, so going back to this now. So we're saying that the grammar, so you see that it's scoring the grammar as 8/10. Now, I also, when you are using it to evaluate anything, always tell it to give you the reason why it is giving you that, why it is giving that number. Because sometimes if you don't tell it to give you the reason, then it can just manufacture numbers anyhow, right? But if you first tell it, give me reason, then it's forced to think, oh, I really need to give a reason. So what reason am I going to give? So it's able to think even deeper, right? Also, you should just read the reason why it's given that number to see, oh, does it really make sense, right? So it's a way for you to know what the LLM is thinking, and to check if it's correct or not. So for example, here I say he gave it 8/10. Then the reason it says the grammar is mostly correct. There's a minor issue in the first sentence with the phrase despite the popular. So it's telling me, okay, I'm giving 8/10 here because there's a minor issue in this place. And then you can look at it and say, oh, okay, I think it's right. All right, move on. Now, the next one also 9/10 on clarity, on coherence, and so on and so forth. See, it's able to give me the reason. It gave me a score and the reason why it's giving that score as well. Okay, so you can also use an LLM to evaluate. So let's move on to the second part of an LLM, or structure, sorry, of a prompt. The second structure is what we call examples. Now, if you want your LLM, if you give it a lot of instruction, now in some situation, until you provide it with an example, which we call one shot or few shots prompt, it will not perform well because it's not able to figure out what exactly you're talking about. But when you give an example, it's direct to say, oh, okay, this is exactly what it means. Let's see some examples of this. Here, I have a prompt. I asked it to translate the following sentences. But now, this is my directive, the instruction, translate the following sentences. Now, but in there, I gave it an example. I say, I give it the first example. I say, I like apples. The answer should be James Les Pauls. Anyway, I can't remember. My French is terrible now. And then I told it, okay, give me the translation for I enjoy walking. And it's able to give me a translation in French. In fact, we can change this to Yoruba. Then you need to translate the following sentences. Mo fẹ́ràn, what is I like apple. Mo fẹ́ràn, what's apple in Yoruba, Seth? I don't remember.
I have no idea.
Anyway, I think we will try. I think I did some play with pigeon later, so that will make you see what I'm talking about. So that's one example. Now, what are the best practices for examples? Make sure you provide very clear and relevant example. So you can give it as many examples as you want, but make sure you pick your examples wisely, right? Pick the examples such that it's able to inform, because the LLM is also trying to get information from the example, right? So make sure you give it as much information as possible. Then what is, now let's move on to short-based prompting. Now, when you hear the word zero prompt, zero shots, one shot, few shots, it simply just means how many examples are you given to the LLM, right? So when you say zero shot, it means you are giving it no example. If you say one shot, means you are giving it one example. You say few shots, means you are giving it two or more examples with the directive, right? So LLM also works, these are just some technical terminologies for people. For example, let's say an example here. So this is an example of a zero shot. I say you should classify the sentiment of the text either as positive, negative, or neutral. So if somebody writes a text, how would somebody else perceive that text, right? Do they see that as something that is positive? Oh, very good. Or something that will make them happy. That's like positive. Something that they will feel indifferent about whether I said it's neutral. And something that they will make them angry at you is right, it's negative. So for example, I say, I think the vacation was okay. It's a neutral statement, right? So you see that I didn't even give it any example, and it's able to figure it out that yes, it has to be neutral. Now let's try the one with an example now, with one short example. I give it, the product is terrible and the sentiment is negative. So I've given it an example, and then I try the same thing. It still gave me, oh, it's neutral. So because it has example. Then if you have multiple shots, for example, it's able to classify, and I gave it more than one example. Now I'm giving it two examples. The first one is the product is terrible. The sentiment is negative. Super helpful is positive. Then I asked it, it doesn't work. If someone say it doesn't work, that's the answer is it's a negative sentiment, right? Just to know, this idea is what people who are into marketing, like Facebook marketing and so on, they use to segment whatever comments people put on their posts, or people put on their celebrities or companies use it as well. Just to have an idea of, oh, how do people feel about our product? How do people feel about our company? What is the comment? Now, sometimes they might have like 1 million comments, right? Nobody has time to read in each of those, right? So you just give to an LLM and say, oh, tell me all the sentiments. Are they positive? Are they negative? Or are they neutral, right? If there's a negative one, you want to focus on them to see whether you need to address it, right? So that is where this approach comes in. So let's move on to the next structure, which is what we call persona. Persona is giving, and this helps your prompt to be very strong when you give an LLM a role or a persona. What do I mean by persona? Let's just go straight to the example so that will help you. Now, if I say that, imagine you're a doctor. If I'm telling an LLM that you should imagine a doctor, immediately it thinks, oh, okay, I'm a doctor. Boom. Then I ask it, based on the following symptoms, diagnose the patient, right? And I say, these are the symptoms. He has fever, he has headache, he has swelling of the legs. What do you think is wrong with the patient? Oh, wait, an LLM is a doctor? No, not really. But because it has information on the internet, right, about medicine, it immediately connects to its knowledge of medicine and is able to give you a response. Now, I asked it, okay, give me, based on these symptoms, can you tell me what might be wrong with the person? Now, it's able to do that. it says, oh, maybe it's a medication side effect. Maybe the person used a drug that they're not supposed to use, and the side effect of that drug is causing these symptoms. So that's, you see, it's able to do that. It's able to say, maybe you might have a liver problem. That could be because you had swelling of legs. So swelling of legs is an effect that might be due to the person having a liver failure. It could also be that there's a kidney problem as well. It could also be that it's a cardiovascular issue. So it's giving you ideas based on the doctor. Now, if I did not give it a persona that is a doctor, if I just say, based on the following symptoms, diagnose the patient, it might not be able to give me an answer. But telling it that you're a doctor, it automatically link up to, okay, this is the aspect information that my person wants. So giving a persona is great. In fact, for me, let me give you an example. When I want to use LLM to write code, I tell it, imagine you are the best Python programmer in the world. Write a Python function that does this. The answer it gives me is usually much better if I just say, write a Python code to do this. Just telling it you're the best programmer in the world. So I'm giving a persona. So it's trying to give me the most complicated, the most best way to write the code that is very standard, because just by just telling it that you're the best programmer in the world, right? So I'm giving it a role, right? So that is what giving it a role is just an aspect of your prompt that you give an LLM. Let's move on. Please, as you try all of these prompts in your LLM, please, you can post whatever answer you receive on the chat if it's interesting to you. Now, here also, I'm trying to test it to assume to be a communication specialist, right? That is very good at writing emails. So I'm saying that, imagine you are a communication specialist, right? Draft an email to my client advising them about a delay in the delivery schedule. So let's say you want to write an email to a professor, let's say you're a student, or you want to write an email and you're just thinking, how do I even write this email? That is where an LLM can help you. Now, here you see it's able to write it, give me a subject, important update regarding your order, and it wrote the full email. All I need to do is just correct it and put in my information. Okay, now let's go to another example. I think, oh, I told you to, this is very good. Look at this. I said, you're a brilliant mathematician who can solve problems, any problem in the world. And then I gave it a very, not hard mathematics, but I said, what is 100 times 100 divided by 400 times 556? Now, like I said, LLM is not made to solve mathematics, but the way I created the prompt, giving it a role, is able to solve the problem. Now, it immediately says, oh, I need to break this down step by step. Now, I didn't tell it to break it down in the prompt, right? But it figured that, oh, if I'm a brilliant mathematician, the best way a mathematician will solve a problem is by breaking it down, right? So it figured that out from the role that I gave to it. And now it says, all right, let me break it down. And it's able to solve the problem. It took the first part, 100 times 100 is 10,000. 10,000 divided by 400 is 25. 25 times 56 is 1,400. It's able to do that. Now, what are the best practices when you use a role? Make sure that use the role that had expertise, that help the LLM to know what you're talking about, right? If I want to ask a question about chemistry, I should say, oh, imagine you are the best chemist, or you're a chemist, right? Give it some persona that helps it to give you the best response. So let's move on to the fourth one, and then I think we'll take a short break for questions. Now, output formatting. Now, you can also tell the LLM how you want the output to look like, right? You can tell it, I want the output to be this way. For example, let's look at an example here. I give it a prompt. In fact, this prompt here is just some random information, which is case, this, blah, blah, blah. Just give you all this information. And I said, output this information as a dictionary. right? And it's able to figure it out and say, oh, this looks like some information. Okay. Then it just said the case is this, the client is this, and it's able to restructure everything. Now, this is useful because I do use this a lot. If you're writing a code and you're working with LLM and you ask it to write you a Python code, right? You need to copy the Python code. So if you're using an application, you can tell it to structure the Python code in a certain way you want that you can easily run by yourself, right? So you see, it's able to do that as a dictionary. If you don't know about Python programming, fine. It's simply, well, there's something called Python dictionary, which is a different, but you don't have to worry about that. So let's go to additional information that might be helpful. So here I am also, I gave it some information. January 1st, I gave it fractured right arm, treated with a cast. And then I said, you're a doctor, predict the patient's future health risk based on this history. So I gave it a persona, right? And then I gave it some instruction on what it should do. And then I gave it the information. And it's able to figure out all of this implication, the implication of person having a fractured leg, what it can cause, the future. The person is hypertensive, has hypertension, that it might cause as well, and all necessary information, you see, just like a doctor. So please try to practice some of these things. Please practice some of this prompt that I've shared. Before I go to the limitation of an LLM, let me stop with if you have any question. Please feel free to unmute yourself if you have question.
So we can now unmute ourselves. So if you have a question, we can unmute ourselves. So I will start with this one.
Okay.
So that we can get the class going. Okay. So let's say that you use ChatGPT to get, you prompted ChatGPT. From my interaction, I realized that ChatGPT is verbose or has the tendency to be verbose. I mean,
sorry, come again. Has the tendency to be what?
Verbose, like use a lot of words.
Oh, okay.
Yes, verbosity is a problem that I've personally observed with ChatGPT. Grok AI, on the other hand, has a tendency to be concise. Now, can we have a situation? Is it possible for us to generate a response using ChatGPT and then now refine it using Grok AI?
Yes, you can do that. But let me,
I mean, in an efficient way using this Python.
Let me tell you why it's like that. And then I'll tell also why is it like that. And then I'll tell you if you can actually do it. So that answers your question directly, right? But the reason why it's done like that is especially when you're using the front end, they have already configured some parameters for you on the back end, right? One of those parameters is what we call temperature. So temperature simply means how creative is the LLM? How many text should it generate? How dynamic? Now, different companies will have these settings automatically on the back end differently. Some, I think, OpenAI probably use the temperature of 1, meaning it's very creative, right? If I put a temperature of 0, it means that no probability is just going to go straight to the point. No moving around, no creativity, no exploring. If I want to write a poem, then I need a lot of creativity, right? So I put a temperature of 2, 3, 4 for it to play around, right? But if I want the right answer, go straight to the point, you put a temperature of 0. Now, as a user from the front end, if you are going to ChatGPT website, you don't have access to make those changes. And that's why you learning how to use the back end or the API, you have control over some of the settings. You can change it, you can play with the settings to see and look at the response. So if you want something short, you can simply change now. But now, if you are using the front end, what's the solution? The solution is put it in the prompt. So if you want it to be short and precise, tell it in the prompt that you want it to be short and precise. right? And it will do the same. It will answer you. So if you don't put in the prompt, of course, it will just go with the natural parameters that it was given.
I have another question here. How can we avoid plagiarism while using ChatGPT?
Oh, very good question. Thank you. Now, when plagiarism comes in, when you're actually using the LLM to write it, right? You are saying, write me a full paper on blah, 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 blah. And it just, of course, you generate something. It will definitely generate something. Now, you're not supposed to do that. Now, you can use it to help you correct your grammar, right? Rephrase. You've written the real content, right, yourself, but you just wanted to help you restructure it, help you correct grammar, then you're good when you use it that way.
And if I may come in at that point as well. So when Tayo started, it started based off from the point of view that everything this ChatGPT giving you is based off on something that is existing somewhere on the internet.
Exactly.
Now, the core of plagiarism is lack of originality. So think about it. If ChatGPT is giving you a response, it's because that response exists somewhere else. And that response is someone else's original thoughts and ideas. So if you were to use that response directly, like ChatGPT, as ChatGPT gives you, it only means you have used someone's ideas without referencing that person's idea, and that straight up is plagiarism. So how do you navigate? How do you make your life better? What I do personally is to use ChatGPT for explorative learning or research. So for example, let's bring it home here. You get a message from your landlord, and your landlord is saying, I'm going to evict you in the next 7 days unless you pay me this money. You can go to ChatGPT to say, as a resident of Lagos State, give me 5 top cases between a tenant and a landlord that has this type of problem. And then it will give you some papers or some cases. Then you read them. You can even take
one caution there, which is probably what I'm talking about. Sometimes it can manufacture case. So please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was about to also say that it can manufacture case. So the thing is, you can ask for reference. You could copy that case. You can go and Google search it yourself to see the docket number of that case. Then you can now start your research from there. Copy the case by case. The thing is, generative AI will never replace your hard work. It will never replace your ability to be thorough. And the prompt, like he has been saying, the quality of what you get from AI depends on the amount of work you put into it. So if you're a lazy person and you just say, I want to respond to my landlord like I'm a lawyer, now we're infusing persona. So if you're saying, I want to respond to my landlord like I'm a lawyer, I want you to give me top 5. It's going to give you something, but best believe it's going to be about that. She's going to have a lot of rubbish in it. But if you go line by line to say, give me 5 cases, then it gives you cases. You open you open it on the internet, you realize it exists. You can copy a paper and now say, give me the fact of this case. How is it relevant to me? Give me the fact of this case. How is it relevant to me? You can copy each component, put it together, and now say, if I want to base my argument off this point that I'm giving you, how should I respond? You are, at least you have better chances of coming out on the other side, unlike if you're a lazy person. So to wrap it up, anything you get from ChatGPT points to the fact that it exists somewhere and it's not original. So the only way you can navigate, you can get cleared of plagiarism is if you put in your own original thoughts and ideas and feelings into it. And then absolutely cite your references because they exist somewhere. So find them and cite them. Then I think you'll be okay.
Thank you. Nafiu, please go ahead briefly.
Yes, what I will only add is that we must always do our homework properly. We don't have to just be lazy. We don't have to look as stupid. We must always do our homework. GPT is always there to complement our efforts. That's what they are there to help us, to guide us. but we always must have do our homework properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's very true. Also, don't be like a lawyer that went to find some cases on ChatGPT and then was trying to use it to, defend his client at the court and discovered that the case didn't exist. So please don't be like that stupid lawyer. Now, what are the limitations of LLM, which I think is important for you to be aware of? Because then you know that the boundary, and that's some of the things I'll talk about here is what we've already discussed just right now. It can hallucinate. So it's called hallucination. It means it can make up information that does not exist anywhere. And that is the one weird thing, because the reason why it can do that is because now on the back end of the LLM, remember, there are numbers, and all it's doing is calculating probabilities of the next word. I think I didn't say that before. It's calculating probabilities of what the next word should be, and just using that to generate information, right? So it can make up information. It can make up what does not exist based on data or information that's been trained with. Sometimes it can even give abusive word if it just finds itself in an information that is found on the internet that has abusive information, right? So that's why you have to be careful. In fact, we say that when you're developing an LLM, you need to create what we call guardrails. So there are people who specialize in these aspects in any AI application. Also, it has limited reasoning skill, right? Of course, it can do some maths like we saw, but if it's some very complex, if you give it your university chemistry or biology, it probably can do it up to a certain extent. Some of these models were tested based on like either high school math or college, university level maths and chemistry and physics. And that's how they verify, or they show that, oh, their model is better than their competitors. That's how they show it, right? But for specific field, like really specific field like law or even other fields in general, it has limited reasoning skill. And so you need to be aware of that. Also, it has limited memory, but if you're using ChatGPT, for example, on the back end, they are storing all the questions you are asking. So that's why when you ask another question, it has your previous question and the answer it gives you with the new question. So it's able to store and then give you. That's why when you are interacting with it, it is progressive. It's like it knows. If you tell it something before and you ask what it is, it's able to answer back because it stores your previous interaction. But it still has limited memory because once you close that chat and you open a new chat, it doesn't know what you've discussed before because it's completely different memory now. Also, like I said before, the knowledge of LLM is based on what it has been trained with in the past. So if you access any information that is happening today, it has no idea of it, right? So you need to also be aware of what is the train date of the model that I'm working on. Because when you're asking anything after that date, it does not know it. Also, LLM can be biased as well, and they get that bias from the data they were trained with, right? For example, if you ask an LLM that a doctor, we say, what is the gender? Like if you phrase a question like, I am going to see a doctor, its response is going to give you to automatically assume that the doctor is a male. It has that interior bias. And if you say that, oh, my nurse is coming, it will automatically say she. It assumes that every nurse is a female. And it got that idea from the data it was trained with, right? So that's why I'm saying that it has an enhanced internal bias that it got from the data it was generated and that it was trained on. Also, there is a way if you're an expert, there's a way to trick LLMs. It's called prompt hacking to give you response. Now, the ChatGPT company itself, they have created some guardrails. Like, for example, if you ask it, how can I kill myself? Most likely it will tell you, oh, I'm not supposed to give you that information somehow. Most likely, I hope.
Yeah, hopefully.
There is a way to hack it that you can force say it in a way, the way you write your prompt, that you can trick it to give you the answer you want for a bad thing to bypass the guardrail that the company has placed on it, right? So you can say, how can I kill my neighbor? Maybe somebody should try it and put the prompt, or it's going to give the post the
I
answer.
think there was one time I tried to say, how do I prepare a Molotov cocktail? Apparently, a Molotov cocktail is a bomb. It's not a drink.
Exactly. That is prompt hacking. Exactly. You see that now? So that's what we call prompt hacking. So, and it will give you an answer because you didn't explicitly say it's a bomb, right? So these are techniques, which is, I would say, we need to be very careful. And then sometimes some words mean many different things, right? So when you ask, and that's why sometimes when you give the prompts, you need to put a persona on it so that guides it on what direction of information it should provide, right? So there's some words that are used in the same way in another bad area or another field, right? The same word used differently in different ways, right? And so we need to be very careful. And how do you overcome these limitations? I think I would just jump. Make sure you double check the output, please. Then we have something we call combining tools, which makes an LLM an agent, which we're going to talk about on the last day. Also use safety filters. So I was talking about guardrails, right? So in your prompt, you can write that you should be careful. Oh, you see, how can I kill myself? It tells you, no, 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 no. You can't keep, if you're experiencing thoughts of harm, blah, blah, blah. So that is the guardrail working, actually. But there is a way you can write that statement that it will tell you how you could kill yourself, actually. Anyway, but I won't go into that. So there's something we call chain of thought prompting. I don't have time to go through that, so I'll just jump it. But if you have access to the notebook, please feel free to read it, and then you can run some of the tests I did there. So I will jump straight to the most likely the end. Yeah, there's a lot of information in this notebook. Please, one of your assignments is to go through, try to run them and see what it gives you. And then you can play with each one as well. I think I was also trying to use it to solve some mathematical problems as well. Oh, okay, this is what I was, okay. You can also use it to translate between programming language, right? So I told it to act as an experienced developer with knowledge of both COBOL and Python. That I don't know COBOL at all. And then I gave it a Python code and I said it should translate it to COBOL. Oh, no, sorry, translate the COBOL to Python. And it did, right? So it's able to translate between a programming language. So let's say you saw a code somewhere that you really like and it's in R, but you want that code in Python. Instead of cracking your head to see, just give it to ChatGPT to do the conversion for you. What else? Let me quickly jump. Oh, perfect. So let's go to the assignment. So I told you the condition to get a certificate is attendance and doing all the assignments. So this is a very open-ended assignment, and I would say it's the simplest, probably the simplest assignment you face in this training, is write a prompt that will make the LLM to produce a step-by-step instruction on how to perform a difficult task in your field. So think of any task that is difficult in your field, right? You are an accountant, you need to do a balance sheet, right? So write a prompt that will help it to prepare a balance sheet, right? If you are, wherever is your profession, you're a student, I don't know what I can tell a student, but think of something. So write a prompt and then try to practice, copy some of my code on how to send it through the API, copy it, and you can paste it here. Now, once you've done the assignment, just take a picture of it. Either you take a picture of it here via the Jupyter Notebook, or you use ChatGPT to do the assignment and just copy it and post it on the WhatsApp group. So once you do it, I will mark each person's name just to ensure that you've done the assignment. So I'll round up here Also, if you have some time, please try to run the remaining. I jumped some aspects of prompt engineering that is really helpful. So please take some time to go through it as well. So I'll round up. I have 6 more minutes. So if you have any question, please, it's the time. If you also want to share some of the response you've seen from the LLM, please also share it on the chat. And if you have any feedback as well on how the training went today, if you think there's something I should change for next week, please also feel free to talk. Thank you.
When is the assignment deadline?
The assignment deadline, oh, good question. I don't think it's next week, Saturday, before the class. Just before the class. So your deadline will be 1 p.m.
I think we should make it Friday so that you can have time to go through it.
Okay.
Friday, 12.
So let's say
9 p.m.
So 12 a.m. on Saturday morning, because I don't think I will have time to even look at it until Saturday morning. So 12 a.m. Nigerian time on Saturday morning, 12 a.m. Saturday morning is deadline. Okay, any other question or feedback, please? We need your feedback. If you have any feedback, please.
I think to make life easier, I will create a folder and I will share the folder with everybody in an email, and everybody can put their assignment there. That way we can keep it organized and you don't have to go to the chat one at a time.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, thank you. See, I have the best secretary ever.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any question, any feedback? Someone said earlier that they couldn't run it. Please, if you want to, you can unmute yourself and just show me, or take a picture of where you are or the error you got, and I can guide you. Okay, someone said, can you show how to set up the API key? Okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. So the API key, like I said previously, is through Google Cloud Console. So let me open. Oh, sorry. So my system is a bit slow because of, oh, you know what? Maybe I should stop sharing then. Oh, no, I need to share. Okay. Okay. Let me. My system.
So I sent a message to you on WhatsApp.
Yes.
So it's an example of hacking, how you can hack generative AI. So I just said you cannot use it to update your note, but please put a disclaimer that it's not an avenue for us to learn bad things. Yes.
Yes, please. Thank you. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so let me quickly go through. Can we see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Oh no, what happened again? No, what? Okay, so this is where to generate the API key. So like I said, you need to, please feel free to drop if you think you got everything, you are fine. I'll just stay for some time to answer questions. And Yomi, I know you are recording. Please feel free to stop the recording as well. So let me go to, so you go to Google Cloud Console and just type it on Google. Oh, sorry. So once you're there, you scroll. Okay, you click on Google Cloud Console here. So this person that got this error, I think your API key is not, something's wrong. It says forbidden traceback. Oh, can I enlarge it? Okay, sure, can do that. Let's do that. So let me change it to full screen. My system is a bit slow because I'm sharing. Sorry, my system is, you know what? Let's do this way. Let me stop sharing for a while. I think this system is, and then I try to reshare after it goes. Okay, I think it's better now. 1 minute. Right, let's check this. Oh, okay. So, okay. I think it looks better. Let me share now. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
Now we can see.
Okay, thank you. So when you enter the Google Cloud Console, you will have this welcome page, right? Then just come to this corner here, click on this corner. It's called the navigation menu. Okay. Then you go to API services. And then you click on credentials. API and services credentials. So once you click on credentials, it will take you to the page where we created the API key. So this is the one I created before, but if you want to create a new one, you click on create credential here, and then you click on API key. So once you do that, it will automatically create an API key for you. Any other question? And then once it creates it for you, you copy the API key it creates for you, right? And then you go back to the notebook. Let me go back to where's my Jupyter notebook? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, then you go back to Jupyter Notebook and you see a key at the bottom of the Jupyter Notebook, the collab. You click on secrets. So you copy that API key from there. And then under name, you click on add new secrets. And then under name, just type API underscore key. Make sure everything is in capital. And there's this underscore in between. And then the API key you copied from Google Cloud Console. You paste it here. And that's it. Any other question? Oh, this thing got disconnected. Okay. Any other question?
Someone is showing an error.
Sorry.
Someone just uploaded an image of the error message he or she got.
Okay, let me see. Sorry, I won't be able to see people's message. Okay, now I can see now. Is it David?
Yes, I think it's David.
Okay.
Name model is
Oh,
not
yeah, it's because you did not run the first three
first one.
cell at the top. That's
Yeah.
why. So you need to go to the top and make sure you run the first three cell. So there's a 3 cell I put at the top. Let me share my screen again. So if you go to the top of the notebook, the far top, okay. You have to run these 3 first. If you don't run it, you won't have a model. You have to run these 3 first. After that, make sure you also run this one. I think that's where it's missed. Make sure you run this one as well, this first one as well, because that's where I define model. So if you don't run this, it won't work. Okay. Any other question? All right. In the absence of none, thank you everyone for joining. I think we'll end the class here. Please, you can still keep posting your question on the chat. Let me know if you have any question. Next week, we'll move on to what we call retrieval augmented generation. So how, like I said, that the LLM has a limit to the knowledge it has because there's a limit of information it knows. It's limited by when it was trained, right? Now, also, the LLM does not know your own personal data, right? Data that you have somewhere within your organization. So if you're working in a company, for example, your company data, LLM has no information about that because those are not openly available on the internet. So if you want to use LLM for your company, now this can even give you a promotion, telling your boss that you want to create an application to make their life easy. I'm sure they will give you a raise, right? Of course, you need to get permission, but you want to train the model to be able to get knowledge from your internal data, right? You can create what we call a retrieval augmented generation, which we'll talk about tomorrow, next week, that how to inform the LLM from your internal knowledge and to still be able to know, and be able to give you the right response based on what you have internally. And the basis of this is what we call a chatbot, right? Now, many of you, I'll be testing it on a very common secondary school that has a website in Nigeria. It's called Olasore or something.
Olashore.
Olashore, yeah, it's in Ekiti or Ondo State, I don't know, somewhere. So what I did was to scrape their entire internet. Please don't tell them. I scraped their entire website and then create a RAG, a chatbot basically for them. So if parents, instead of calling the school or saying, do you have any question from the school, you just type into chatbot. Oh, I have a child, I want to do this. What do I do? Come. The chatbot goes straight to this information I've already dragged from their website and is able to answer you just like you interacting with a chatbot. So the basis of RAG is a chatbot. It's the technology behind chatbots is simply the RAG infrastructure. So it's what we'll be creating next week, and I think it's very exciting. This is an application. This is a way you can bring value if you are working, if you are a researcher and you have many papers in one folder somewhere, and sometimes you're always looking for which paper says what, and you can't really figure it out. Just put everything. You can have a RAG, a chat bot of all your papers. And each time you need to figure out which paper does what, you just connect with the chat bot and it just tell you, oh, this paper should refer to this particular paper, and you can easily find it, right? Or you can use it for, the different applications for your company. You have so many data as well. And you want your customers to be able to interact with the data or to be able to interact with you without you having been there to answer all their questions, right? You can create a chatbot. So we'll be doing that next week. So please, I think we need to start that on time so that we have enough time to complete it. I've written all the code. You don't have to worry yourself. All you just need to supply. And when you're coming, have a document or something you think you would like to use to create your own chatbot that you can practice with. So thank you very much and have a great weekend. Bye for now.
So someone is still talking about the API key. I would suggest the person should just go through the session again. Just try to do the whole process all over again. I think that's about what we can do at this point.
Yes. The recording will be created, we provided, but it will take us some time to put it together. So, but watch out for the recording.
Let's say 24 hours. Let's give it 24 hours.
Right? Yomi, how long does it take?
Yeah, I think we can just close it.
Okay. All right. I'll close it from my hands.